Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, November 9th, 2015. Over the past 7 days, portions of the Great Basin have seen a significant amount of precipitation. That's mainly been across portions of central and northern Nevada and central and southern Idaho. While the rest of the Great Basin has been quite dry, you can see in the percent of normal map on the right, much of Utah has been well below normal as far as precipitation, as well as portions of southern Nevada and western Idaho. The satellite this morning shows a low-pressure system over the Pacific Northwest, and that will move into the Great Basin through this afternoon, bringing much cooler temperatures and some unsettled weather to the area. Taking a look at the ventilation index for this afternoon, you can see that most of the area is going to see excellent mixing. Those are the colors or the areas in white that are forecast to see excellent mixing, and that's mainly due to the strong winds expected ahead of this system. And jumping into the details of that, the image on the left shows the transport wind forecast speed. You can see the strongest speeds are forecast across portions of western Utah and eastern Nevada, as well as great mixing heights ahead of that system. So really some good mixing today ahead of the approaching system. Moving into Tuesday, that system will make its way into southern Utah, and we will see another day of excellent mixing across the majority of the area. Again, the image on the right shows that ventilation index, and most of the Great Basin is in that excellent or white range, although there are some isolated portions of central and eastern Utah that will have that lower ventilation, and we'll look at that in just a moment. So as I mentioned, northeastern Utah looks like it will not have quite as good mixing tomorrow afternoon. And you can see from the image on the right, the mixing heights are expected to be lower in that area. And the transport winds, which are depicted on the left, are also quite low across northeastern Utah. But across much of the rest of the Great Basin, we will see those rather healthy transport winds ahead of and behind the cold front that will make its way through the Great Basin beginning today. As we move into Wednesday, we'll start to see mixing decrease across the area. You can see much more reds and purples and yellows on the map as that system pulls away and we start to see those mixing heights lower. And as I mentioned, mixing heights, you can now see the image on the right. Across much of Nevada, those mixing heights are quite low, as well as some light transport winds across much of Nevada. So really, we'll start to see mixing decrease moving into Wednesday behind that system. Looking at the Utah Forecast Clearing Index, the clearing index will be the highest today across the state as we see those strong transport winds ahead of the system, and it'll trend downward Tuesday and Wednesday as that system pulls away and we lose those winds and the mixing heights. The WPC is calling for precipitation across much of the area with this system. The portion of the Great Basin expected to see the most precipitation is across southern Utah, where that system will be the strongest. Moving into Thursday, we'll see high pressure briefly build across the area, and due to that high pressure, winds will be lighter, mixing heights will be lower, and we are looking at quite a bit of fair to poor mixing across the Great Basin, with the exception of southern Utah and southern Nevada. This trend continues into Friday as we see the mixing continue to decrease. Many more areas are moving into that red range across the Great Basin where the mixing will not be quite as good. And that continues Saturday and Sunday across the Great Basin. However, on Sunday it does look like we could start to see some improvement across southern Idaho as winds start to pick up ahead again of the next system in the forecast. For the 4 to 5 day range, not much is expected in the way of precipitation, but again, this is 4 to 5 days out, and so this can definitely always change as models change. Finally, looking at the 8 to 14 day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation across the majority of the area. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen. Thanks.